way of like growing up. Like I had a tabo in the bathroom, which my boyfriend finds very strange. He's
What
like,
color?
it was blue.
Hi everyone, it's Adrian Pangilinan and Big Energy. Welcome back to Soul Supremacy, where we talk about all things unapologetic, all things passion, and in pursuit of. And speaking of Big Energy, I have my special guest over here for this episode with Big Energy over here because our friend Susana Downs, all the way from Sydney, Australia, woke up at what time? Tell me, what time is it there now at this point of recording?
It's now 5:18 a.m., but I woke up at 3:45.
I just kept telling her, I was like, thank you, girl, for waking up, because I personally have a hard time waking up for my like earlier time slots. And for those that have tuned in for the past episodes, you will notice how sleepy I look in some of them. So thank you again for being here. And before we get started, I just want to actually read her bio. And according to her Instagram, which is at Sana Danielle, she says that she is a pageant queen plus actress, sharing fitness, beauty, fashion, and ultimately she is Gigi in The Unusual Suspects. And that is very important to point out because we just had a recent kapatid, Aina Dumlao, on the show too as well. And I don't know, I just never would have ever thought that I would ever have someone else from the same show be on the show. And I'm really, really thankful, like what I told our guest over here. I'm so thankful that she reached out to me for, this platform, for our platform, for her to share her story, because that's what your show's about. It's not about me. It's about our guests that come on, excuse me, I'm slurring my words, that come on to, share their light to the world. So how are you? How are you, kapatid?
I'm good. I'm actually like surprisingly awake for being awake for the last like hour and a half. I have pre-workout ready and keeping me going.
Wow.
But I'm good. Yeah, no, I made sure to go to bed really early, like at like 9 something.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I tend to try to go to bed really early. I'm like a grandma now. Like I used to be like super late nights and but now like being out past 10 o'clock, I can't do it anymore.
Oh no, yeah. If I may ask, I'm an old soul. I'm 29. And then I want to ask you, how old are you?
I just turned 28 at the start of this month.
Oh, okay. You're younger than me. And doing things and have been doing big things, and like I'll let you say it in the next couple of questions.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get started with the icebreaker question. So are you ready or are you ready?
I'm always ready. I love these kind of things.
Yes. Okay, so my very first question for you is, what are 3 things about you that people wouldn't normally know when they meet you for the first time? Like myself meeting you for the first time.
I'm a tech nerd, so I love I love cameras. I love new laptops and new iPhone. Like any new technology that's come out, like I'm obsessed with it. I work at basically the Australian version of Best Buy, and I've been there for almost 9 years. Been 9 years next month.
Wow.
And as I've like been working there for almost a decade, like I've learned so many new things about different products, and I love, tech, and like my parents were in IT, so I kind of had that background in me already. And
it makes sense.
Not many people would think that like I'm a tech nerd, and I have like the like latest Blue Yeti microphone, and I talk about cameras with my boss all the time, and she's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, so yeah. The fact that I love tech and like editing and all of those kinds of things, people don't usually get that. Second is this is still along the same trajectory, like in the nerd world. Like a lot of the things on the bookshelf there are my boyfriend's, but I love like anime. I grew up with all boy cousins, so like I was immersed in Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Digimon.
Yes, that is me. Yeah. I like over here, I have a big Digimon poster. I'm not sure if it's original, but it's like a really big poster. That's just like almost like art, like a painting.
Yeah. So I I wasn't necessarily like a tomboy growing up, but I was always like playing with my cousins and watching anime, playing video games, doing all of that. But I was there in like pink overalls, like really cute, girly.
Yeah.
So
All with that masculine energy though.
yeah, but still just like being the little I was the youngest out of the four of us, so I was always like tagging along, but still having the best time. And yeah, and it helped me win over my boyfriend, let's be honest.
Oh.
The fact that I knew anime and like that's what we do, we watch it together. And
that's the best. Yeah. That's the best when you can go home at the end of the day and just like, you know, like sit down and like tune out, you know, tune out of the world and be together, you know.
Exactly. Last thing, I mean, this is very along the lines of my character, The Unusual Suspects. I'm very into like gratitude and journaling. I journal twice a day. Like I have like my tarot cards, and it's something I don't think a lot of people would associate, because like I grew up very, very Catholic, and now it's all just about like spiritual energy and the energy we put out versus the energy that the universe gives back to us. Like that's kind of been more my spiritual connection rather than yes.
I super resonate with that. Like I you know, I mean, I grew up Catholic. That's what I'm trying to say. And while in many ways, like I feel like I will always choose to associate myself with that because I feel like I found my love, you know. But at some point I did like realize that I have kind of went more into my own spiritual journey, whereas like the traditional, you know, just the traditional religious, I feel like, like secular relationships that people have with the church. Basically, it's like, I feel like in many ways I've kind of come to accept that that's not me, and in many ways in my own, you know, spiritual journey, I feel like I'm always blessed. You know, like there are just like many things. Like I could have been dead, but I'm like, no, I'm still here. You know, I'm like, okay, I see.
Yeah, and I feel like God just isn't in one building. Like he's everywhere. So like, why do I have to always be in one building every week? Like I can find that connection anywhere I go. I don't have to be somewhere every single Sunday.
We don't have to be Sunday Christians.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to go down a rabbit hole, but I think I get I think I get the notion of probably where you and I share the same sentiments of like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm blanking out. Okay, so I don't know. I'm curious. What is your favorite food? I mean, I'm sure that's heavily influenced with where you're from. So
yes.
Well,
I'm a big dessert person. My mum is a cake decorator. So a lot of my childhood was spent like helping her pack boxes of cupcakes and big cake boxes. And as I got older and I got my driver's license, it was me like driving her to deliver cakes. So I love dessert. I love anything that's chocolate. I mean, I'm vegan now, so I have to like find the good tasting vegan things that don't taste like they're missing, you know, dairy and eggs. It's always, but I've found them, thank God. So like, I've always been a big dessert person. I love ice cream. I love cookies. I love cake, donuts, anything that is dessert and sweet dessert. I am all about it.
Wow. I would say I'm the opposite though. I mean, I think on certain days I can have a sweet tooth, but like one bite of a cake, I'm like, oh, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. I'm like, my breakfast is always a sweet breakfast. Like it's very rare that I'll want a savory breakfast. Like and make sure it has like Biscoff and melted chocolate and like really nice tasting protein powder.
Wow.
And then I end the day always with like a bowl of ice cream with like a protein bar sprinkled in it. And I guess any other things, like I make my own version of like cold rock and I mix things into my ice cream because I like texture when I eat. I like to have like both like the cold and then a bit of crunch and maybe some like frozen fruit on it as well. So
you definitely sound like someone that would be fun to hang out with for brunch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not just
Love
brunch. You know what I mean?
brunch.
Like to go out and eat in general.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you? So then my follow-up question is comfort food. What is like a go-to comfort food for you when things feel a little hard, when the world feels a little, like what is your go-to?
Whatever's in the pantry. I can admit that I'm a very big emotional eater, and that was a really big part of 2021. A lot of like there was a big event that happened that I had to like really rein in. Like I was really digging through the pantry, eating all the lentil chips, eating all the popcorn, eating all the like it was relatively healthy stuff. Like
yes.
Rice cakes with like different spreads on them. I'm very conscious of the things that I buy from the supermarket. I tend to not like eat too many like unhealthy things. I say that in quotation. All food is good food, but
in moderation.
Yeah, I was like supposed to be in a calorie deficit at the point, and I was like going completely out of the box of that. And
wow.
So whatever. I have a dedicated snack cupboard in our apartment. So anything that's in there.
Wait, what is it?
Dedicated snack cupboard.
What's in there?
Like it's my own, like it's mine. Like I'll let my boyfriend like eat stuff from there.
Oh, got it. It's only for cupboard. You. It's for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. It's funny because
like.
Oh no, I just want to
popcorn.
Go ahead.
It's just like popcorn and different protein bars and not overstock. Like if I have a type of protein that I'm running out of, I have the next one of that flavor waiting in line in that cupboard.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was, sorry, we're recording internationally. She's all the way from Australia and we're from San Diego. Give us a break, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Speaking of that, I actually have my rice. I got home and I was like, okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm really hungry as we speak, but it's okay because I was like, when I got home, I was like, hopefully there's more white rice left. There wasn't anything. And I was just like, dang it. I was like expecting to eat before we started, but it's okay. Yeah. I made it, right before we got started. So after this, I'm going to have my fresh bake. So
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think my last question for you is, for this round at least, is if Susana Downs were to have her own TikTok dance challenge. Speaking of that, because I guess I should mention it now because it totally slipped my mind to mention it earlier that you got your degree in musical theater, and also you were Miss Earth Australia 2019. Yes. Yeah. So going back to the question, I will do a follow up on the second part later. So if you were to have your own official TikTok dance challenge, what will the first move look like? Please show us and describe.
It would probably just be everyone doing "We're All in This Together" dance from High School Musical, because that's like how I got started in the industry in a way.
With High School Musical?
Yeah, it was my first musical I ever did. Yeah.
Oh, or at least the movie.
Yeah, so the movie came out, I think, 2005, 2006. Yeah, and then
January.
The stage.
I know. I know.
And then the stage show came out the year after, and I did it November, December 2007. So I was 14 years old playing Gabriella. It was my first ever musical, and I was like, let's see if I can do this. And
it was great, and I'm sure what a perfect, talk about a perfect musical to start off as.
Right. And I'm playing another half Filipina character as well.
Yes.
So it was really like kindred, and I'm a big impersonator. So it kind of started my impersonation journey as an artist, and I accidentally did my audition with my Vanessa Hudgens impersonation, and I was like, okay, I have to be stuck in this for the whole show.
Wow. Do you want to give us a sample of what that audition looked like?
What did I sing? I sang Songbird, Fleetwood Mac song, but the Eva Cassidy version, very acoustic. But I didn't sing that song like Vanessa. But then when they were like, okay, let's sing Gotta Go, not Gotta Go My Own Way, best song of the whole whole franchise,
Gotta
though.
go my way.
Yeah. But everything like Vanessa Hudgens was spoken like this, and the whole show was spoken like this. And I'm 14 years old and sounding like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was very high pitched, and as you can hear, like my natural talking voice is quite deeper.
Yeah, but deeper range,
her
yeah.
natural one. But yeah, all my singing was all the way up here, and I had to sound like.
Yes. Oh yeah. Her like. Yeah. Her range at least is high. I mean, it sounds to me that she talks that high, like naturally, like
yeah,
a little pitchy, you know.
Yeah. So the whole thing was very, like my larynx was all the way up here, and it was fun though. I had the best time.
Yeah. So would you say that your first, because you did say that. So going back to the question, so you did say that you would want to do something. Is it like this for your
the
first
one? That whole getting back into bringing it back. Yeah.
I know the dance. Okay, so with you, it was your first musical that you've ever done. For me, 2006 was really like I was 14.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget how old I was. I was 14. There you go.
Been 14,
yeah, I was 14, and like, so actually both movies were produced and directed by and choreographed by Kenny Ortega. Actually, I'm not sure if it was produced by him. Just kidding. But definitely directed and choreographed. High School Musical 1, the first one, and The Cheater Girls 2. So seeing those movies come out back to back in that same year really made me fall in love with dance, because I had just started. Literally, I think I was finishing my first year at San Diego School of San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts, which was a like a pre-conservatory, set up middle school and high school. And so when I saw that movie, I was like, I think this is probably what I want to end up shifting my focus to, because I also started in music, but I played an instrument. I just played the violin. And I realized that at some point I was probably gonna like phase out of it. But I was thankful that there was already something kind of like, there was like dance. And then by the time I graduated, I kind of also had shifted into film, Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of what happens, I think.
Yeah.
I think we just find all the creative outlets that we enjoy. And because I kind of did that in high school as well. I was obsessed with YouTube and wanting to create my own content back then. And I started, I started in music as well, but I was a vocalist. And then I found out that I loved like acting, dancing, and singing all at the same time. So year 11 and 12 in school was all about musical theater. But then I was filming everything all the time. And I entered our film festival of the school with the like mockumentary about girls playing handball in the school, which just was not a thing. And it was like making fun of the fact that like the handball community of our high school was like rampant and like took over the quad of my high school. And then so I was like, let's infiltrate, let's get one of the girls in. And it's just really stupid. But it started my love of like actually filming other people and really like creating content that wasn't a vlog. Like I was vlogging a lot in high school because that's when it all got really rampant and starting. But then I was like, let me make like an actual film. And then I went from there.
Yeah. I mean, like from my it's already 12 noon over here. I like, why am I talking like as if I'm in her spot? Like she just woke up and she's more eloquent than I am. But it's okay. We'll run with it. People know that this is how I am. But I wanted to say that that it really seems like you and I had a very, very similar trajectory. Literally from High School Musical going to a performing arts school and then just kind of like being blessed with opportunities to like explore all the arts that we want to explore. So by the time like like which is probably gonna be the main thing that I want to ask you is like how you got to where you're at now. So speaking of that, and I actually just caught myself having a very, very seamless segue. So good job for me. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's a running gag that I have about me having like awkward segues.
Yeah.
Very choppy. I'm just like, okay, we'll just see. There you go. See that would have been an example of it. But so see, I just did. Okay. So now we're gonna get. Oh, dang it! I just subconsciously like.
It's okay.
It. No, it's funny. Okay, so let me stop being awkward. So we're now gonna segue into the main interview. So my first question for you is, who is Susana?
She's someone that wears a lot of hats. I'm constantly like doing like 3 jobs all at the one time. Yeah, like you said, my Instagram bio is kind of like the main encapsulation of what I am, like pageant queen, actress who loves fitness, beauty, fashion. But then again, like content creation is a big thing that I love. But I've been retail for 9 years and I do children's entertainment. And I've done that for 17, 18, 19, 20, 4 years. And it's just a big nerd. And I like to think like how I describe myself is like a big goofball who loves to sing and entertain and make people happy. And that's in like different ways, just like speaking to someone, performing for someone. I enjoy bringing joy to other people, and whether that's, through entertainment as an actor, whether that's on TV, on stage, at a birthday party. It's always a big thing. But yeah, I'm constantly busy, constantly wearing different hats. And it's nice to have days where I'm just like at home on my laptop like a normal person in lockdown who's working from home is.
You don't gotta tell me twice. I'm like rarely home in the middle of a pandemic.
No, I've been lucky that like, because we're currently in lockdown here in Sydney, so which opens back up October 11th. That's what we've like deemed as Freedom Day, where everything opens up again.
Knock on wood that they don't extend it.
It's been extended, so we were only supposed to be in a snap lockdown for 2 weeks in June. And it's
since
almost
June.
October. Since right after my last pageant, it was like the week after they were like, okay, the case numbers have been going up. We need to go into lockdown. We're going to go into lockdown for 2 weeks. And then it was extended. We're going into lockdown for another month, and then another month, and then another month. And then they've finally all the case numbers have been under 1,000 a day. So we're down to, they've the trajectory for both our vaccinations and everything is deemed October 11th when the gyms can open, hairdressers can open, everything else, everything can open up again. We're allowed to go visit family and friends that aren't within our local government area. But I've been very lucky that I have a permit to go drive to work in all different jobs. So I have a permit to go to my retail job. I have a permit to go to my my job as content producer for my personal trainer. So then we both have a permit to go to a specific photo studio where we do a lot of our major content for. So I've been lucky that I get to leave the house, but I've enjoyed the days where I'm at home either doing admin stuff on the laptop or
I know
just resting,
I love those days. Yes,
I know. I like to taking a mental health day and hanging out with my son, who is a cat.
Is he there? Is he there? What's your son's name?
He's asleep. His name is Shanks. He's named after 3 different things. So Shanks from One Piece, Crookshanks from Harry Potter, and Skimbleshanks from Cats the Musical. So his first name Shanks being named after those three things.
Wow.
But really, we just call him Mr. Boy. That's we didn't have a name for him for like a week, and we were just calling him Mr. Boy. It's kind of
Mr.
stuck,
Boy, Boy Abunda.
Yeah. He's not bald, so we can't call him that. He looks like his dad. He's ginger. So.
Wow. What's I know I asked you this, but I should probably ask for while we're recording. What's your ethnicity?
I'm half Filipino, half Caucasian Australian. So like if you would like to really dig down, it's half Filipino, half English. But my dad and his dad were all born in Australia. So I just say Caucasian Australian because obviously just saying Australian would imply that my family is Aboriginal and we're not. Like white. That side of the family is white. So I'm not going to make people think, oh, she's this. I'm like, no. They're white.
No, yeah. I mean, this is actually the first time I'm hearing that, like, actually kind of breakdown of it because I don't think I personally. I mean, my cousin-in-law is Australian, so that's what he told me. So then again, I should probably ask him then.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that is born in Australia or has Australian citizenship. Wow, citizens. Now I can't speak. Everyone that has Australian citizenship or has like permanent residency, I believe is Australian. So, you know, saying that I'm half Filipino, half Australian doesn't really mean anything. I'm 100% Australian, but I'm half Filipino, half like British descent.
Yes, and yes, because I had this conversation with someone. I don't think it was in the show, but no, it wasn't actually. But they were talking about how, like, just like what you said, I'm like half Filipino and half. You said English and Australian, or you know, and then he was like, but I'm 100% of everything, you know, like or like as in I'm still Filipino and I'm still this, you know. So when he said that, I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, I was raised very equally both, like the Filipino way of like growing up. Like I had a tabo in the bathroom, which my boyfriend finds very strange. He's
what
like,
color?
It was blue.
That's the one that we have. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just describing the concept of a tabo, and he was like, "What? Why?" And I'm like, "Because you wanted to be clean."
I mean, personally speaking, I could only imagine from his perspective. What do you use? Like,
we don't have one here, so I have to like reach over to the sink and like kind of do it the same way. But I was like describing the like plumbing system in the Philippines. I'm like, you can't.
There isn't
use toilet. It's like you can't use toilet paper. You have a hose. That's
that's
like
it.
when like eventually when we're allowed to travel back to the Philippines, then I bring him back over and meet my family because my boyfriend is like his descent is Scottish, so he's very Caucasian. Like he's a redhead, and it's beautiful. His hair color is so stunning.
I saw photos when I was stalking and doing my research earlier. I was like, your post that you just posted, I think, you guys should celebrate it.
A year.
Okay. For some reason, 9 months. I was like, it's a year. It's 9 months. A year, 9 months. Whichever.
Yeah.
A year.
No,
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, he's amazing, and he loves, like, he's not in our industry, and I think that's probably been the best thing for me. I used to date an actor, and there was like competition that I didn't know I was in, so I was like, okay. But being with someone who's not in the industry and finds it like exciting makes it even more exciting for me, because then I'm like, really want to impress him with this. I really want to like show him like this is what I do and get excited about it. Because when he's excited about the projects that I get to do, like it makes me even more excited about them.
Yeah, and you just get to go home at the end of the day and you guys get to turn off work which I think is
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
yeah, you know, because that reminds me of my conversation with your friend, your co-star Aina. See, ate Aina. Uh,
Yeah.
her and her husband, they're in the same field, but
Mhm.
you know, from my impression, I mean, the fact that they started a production, you know, company together just means that they were able, like, they were basically meant for each other. Just because,
Yeah.
you know, because I feel like I hear a lot of things about like don't date someone in your industry, and then I heard this thing like a while back, like when I used to dance all the time, like as a dancer, you should like dating dancers are the best thing ever. So I'm just like, I feel like it's just
Yeah.
never really one thing, you know.
Yeah, you've got to find the right person if you're going to date someone in your industry. I thought I had, and then I was like, oh no. This is not the kind of person you should be with. And like, yeah, no. Having someone that is excited or like more excited or just as excited about what I do is the kind of person I need to be with. Like, yeah, I've seen so many people that have successful relationships of someone in the same industry. Like, yeah, Ina and Brew, I love them as a couple so much.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Like Ina would FaceTime Brew all the time, like when we'd be at lunch and we'd be like, huh.
Yeah.
And then like Miranda and Peter are perfect for each other. Michelle and Toby as well. Like, we had some amazing power couples in the show that were like
yes, sana
like
all.
Yeah.
Do you, I'm surprised I forgot to ask you. Do you like do you know any Tagalog? Like, what's your language history like?
What, as a kid, like my mom didn't really use it growing up. Like, she would like use it talking to like other family members, like my titas.
Gossip in the corner.
Yeah, they're all having chismis in the corner.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
that's how you know what's happening.
Yeah. But then as I got older and I was, you know, I did Miss Philippines Australia as my first beauty pageant, and I was like, well, I should actually like I found more of a passion to want to learn Tagalog a bit better, and then so I started like my connection with Tagalog was more singing songs, like singing OPM songs that my mom would be like, oh, anak, you should sing this one. It's so nice. And like, what am I singing?
Bakit nga ba mahal na mahal kita?
And I'm just like, what am I singing? And then so either mum would tell me what I was singing, or I'd have to like Google translate it myself and be like, okay, this does make sense for me to sing this song. Or I'm like 8 years old singing about like my love life is gone. I'm like, why am I singing this, mum?
Singing Celine Dion songs that are like, dang, girl, you've been heartbroken for so long.
At like 4 years old, singing My Heart Will Go On, and I'm just like, I like the song, mum, but I don't think this is appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like, as I've gotten older and wanting to have more of a connection with that side of being Filipino, yeah, I've kind of made it my own study to learn Tagalog a bit better, and it helped a lot during Miss Earth, like because I wasn't with any of my family, and I kind of became like our group translator because I was the only candidate that understood what was going on when our chaperones weren't talking directly to us in English.
Oh wow!
Like if they're like sneaking off in the back, like talking about things, I'd be like, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah. You know, actually, you are. I feel like we're in a trajectory of like talking about Miss Earth, but we're just gonna also that just a little bit over here because also because you were also talking about your childhood. I actually want to talk about your childhood. Can't talk. I want to talk about your childhood first. Is that so hard to say? I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I'm genuinely curious to see like how was a young Susana like being both, I'll say both Filipino and both Australian.
Yeah.
How's that dynamic like?
Oh, I was obnoxious. I was an obnoxious little kid. I was raised like an only child, but I have two older half sisters. My dad's daughters. So I'm my mum's only child, but my dad has two daughters from a previous marriage, and so they were had graduated high school by the time I was born, so they had moved
Damn.
out. They were, you know, living
like
their
adults.
young adult. Yeah, they were 19 and 17 years old by the time I was born, so they were like well done and dusted. They lived together in their own apartment, like being adults, and so then I was raised like
17,
an only
18.
child.
Okay, they sure had it together right away.
Right. So then it was myself, my mom, and my dad together in the house, and so I didn't really have to fight for anyone's attention. I just was like,
it was just you.
put all the attention on me.
Yes.
And I was the youngest in my family for a while because my dad's side, all my cousins were around the same age. And then on my mum's side, I have a cousin who's 8 days older than me. So, and then his brother was 3 years older than him, and then I had another cousin who was a year older than him. So like we had a close knit group in the family on the Filipino side here in Australia. So we'd always, every weekend was like with my cousins, like I said, like running around the backyard playing, either pretending we were wrestlers or playing soccer or playing video games. But I'd always want to be putting on a show. And I think my parents realized that, we've got a performer on our hands. Like we're not going to have someone who's following in our footsteps doing a maths degree at uni or getting into, wanting to become a doctor, or like the typical Filipino
trajectory
stereotypes. Yeah. So they were like, okay, we've got a performer, we've got to nurture this. And I was really, really fortunate that they did. Like, they, of course, wanted me to do well in school, and I didn't really. Like, I did the best that I could. Like,
you tried your best.
Yeah, primary school was great academically, and then once I was able to like really hone in on being a performer, that's when like maths started to drop off, and then other subjects that like were interconnected with maths, except for music. Obviously, like music and drama were like my top 2 subjects in school, and getting my high school certificate, which is kind of like the SAT equivalent. Those were my higher subjects, and then English, design and technology, which I made a dress for my my major work.
In high school?
In high school, I had a lot of help though. I had a lot of help, but and then biology and maths were like down the bottom. I wanted to do chemistry because I like mixing things, and I like to say that baking is basically chemistry because you have to follow instructions.
It is, yes, yeah.
So I was good.
Or
at
else your cake could be too like, like it could explode, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like if you overmix stuff, or if you put in too much of this, too much of that, then it just like either the cake will like sink in the middle, or just won't bake, or all these kind of things. I was always just running around singing, telling other people they couldn't sing. I was really like, I wanted all eyes on me as a kid. I'm a bit more humble about it now, but like, as a kid, like I'd be singing with my neighbors, and like my mum's 50th birthday wasn't her 50th birthday. It was a show for me. I had like 3 costume changes. I sang about 5 songs and did a dance. Like it was just basically like an opportunity for me to perform. And I was singing a song with my neighbor. We only had the one microphone, and like I'd stand there like this when it wasn't my turn to sing. And then it's like, okay, it's my turn. And then it's me. More humble about it now. Yeah. But God, obnoxious is the word to describe me as a kid. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in many ways I probably lived in my own. I was actually just telling someone this, that for the longest time I lived in my own bubble.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So when all of that, then did you what did you go to college for? And did you go to, because you mentioned that you went to college you got your degree, your bachelor's in music, in musical theater.
Mhm.
Was that was that the original choice, or did you just go straight into it, or did you have something else? Like
No,
most
so
people.
originally, yeah. I mean, I was trying to do a Bachelor of Music at like the stock standard universities, and there he is. There's my son. The stock standard. He's just like this little meow. Yes, Bubba. The stock standard, like Australian universities in Sydney, and also like the big performing universities here.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it into any of the big ones. So I was like, okay, I'll just do like, I was originally going to do a Bachelor of Arts pathway to teaching primary, because my like backup job was going to be a music teacher in a primary school, because I think that's what really, really nurtured my love of singing and performing, was my music teacher in primary school.
All the art teachers in public schools, private schools, you know?
Yeah. So that was the idea. And then I hated regular uni. I was there for a month and I was like coming home crying, and like my only source of happiness at that time was the fact that I was doing Saigon in a local production of it. And I was like, this is my only joy. This is the only thing that makes me happy. And then one of my best friends, who was my Troy Bolton when I did High School Musical, and we're still really good friends to this day, he was like,
what's his name? You want to give him a shout out?
His name's Chris Gagan. Yeah, we've been friends since 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, he's actually in The Unusual Suspects. He was one of the workers in Sarah's show for Nick, and like he takes off the blanket off of one of the sculptures. Spoiler alert.
Yes, once I get cool, I'm gonna need to binge watch the show, by the way. You're like the second person that I'm here to talk about it. But continue. I'm here.
So he was like, oh, come and audition for the musical theatre program at the Australian Institute of Music. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, because I'm depressed as hell. And he's like, no, same, because he was doing, I think, music teaching at the University of New South Wales, and he was hating it too. So I deferred from uni, and we both auditioned together. We both got in. There was a portion of it where we had to do like music theory, and I filled out the form, and then the head of musical theatre was like, okay, you can start now. And I was like, I finished. I'm done. Here you go. Because I was a big music theory nerd in high school, and I loved like transcribing music from ear, and get a friend pay me for their like final works at uni to transcribe a song that didn't have any sheet music. And they pay me in money and also chocolate, which was
food.
Best of both worlds. Of both worlds. So we got in and started May 2012 like studying a Bachelor of Music and Musical Theatre. And then because our semesters were actually trimesters, so we had 3 terms of the year. So we did a 3-year course in 2. So I had my degree by the time I was 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think speechless. You learn something new every day, right? Definitely. I think this is the first time that I am hearing about the education system there from there. Yeah.
So most schools tend to work on like a regular semester, like
2.
2. But my school worked on the trimesters. I've actually found it a lot easier to navigate, because it was similar to like primary school and high school. You have the 4 terms of the year, which it was a lot easier. And then I was like, Mom, look, I'm just like you. I have my degree by the time I'm 20, because back in the Philippines, they would do high school up until grade 10, and then
and then college,
4 years of college, and then they'd have a degree at 20 years old. So I was like, Mom, I'm like you. That's
funny. So since we're in this, so I know you did Miss Earth. How like there's Miss Earth and then there's the Unusual Suspects. What is, I guess my follow-up question in between the two is, would you mind filling in the gap? Like when did you do Miss Earth, and like, and also what was like life like after college when you graduated? Like what was that adjustment period? Because I feel like for a lot of people, including myself, that was a struggle. You know?
Oh yeah, it was a big struggle. I mean, I started my retail job when I started uni, so I was lucky to be kind of still working in the industry, but on the other side of it, the selling side of it, like selling DVDs, selling CDs, and like I have the CDs that we're selling, and I'm like, oh yeah, I went to uni with this guy. He's really nice. Like telling customers about them, and they're just like, I don't care. Let me go buy my CD, and I'm like, just to give you a backstory, like. You know, you're supporting someone that I think is a great person. So okay, good for you.
You're like the librarian in the library.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to check out the book, but the librarians in essence are like super passionate about, you know, like they represent people who are super passionate about what they do. You know,
exactly,
just like you in your work.
Yeah. So I was lucky I was still kind of in the industry in that sense, and then I started doing children's birthday parties. I was like always the ethnic princesses, because like I can't be. Well, my boss is very much like we'd rather have the actors look like the characters that they're playing. Like me being Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty just wouldn't match because I don't look like them. And like some kids are like a lot smarter than what they think. Like when I still had brown hair. I mean, we're getting back to it because of lockdown, but when I still had brown hair, good. Like I could. Thank you. I'm over it though. I was able to just
October 11. It's coming up. You said October 11, right?
Yes.
October 11. There you go.
I can get my hair back to being blonde again. My hair could like just be crimped, and so I'd go into kids' parties without a wig on, and they'd be like, "Oh wait, you really are Moana." I'm like, "Yeah, like this is my hair." But there would be times when I'm just like, "Can I just wear the wig? I cannot be bothered to do my hair today." And like we found a really good wig, but there was a big lull in work because. Diversity was still kind of building up here in Australia, and the importance of having, you know, blonde hair, blue-eyed Australian looking, the stereotype of Australian people was like on the down, like it was coming down where like, okay, we want to actually show what Australia actually looks like and having actors that actually look like the everyday people you see on the street. And so I was getting more and more commercials as time went on. That was really helping. And then I booked my first like series, so my first SBS miniseries, which is the production, like the network that The Unusual Suspects is under in Australia, in 2017. And it was a bit part, but it was like my first one, like on a TV set and having to come in for multiple days because, you know, I had 2 days. My first day was a full day on set where I had to film in the morning and then wait around on set for hours and hours and then film at night. And then another day was just a half-day shoot for me at the end of the night. But it was so exciting. And I was like, I want to do more of this. I want to do more of this. And it was a 3-year gap between, but then The Unusual Suspects came around and best experience of my life. And I don't think I would have gotten that role had it not been for me doing beauty pageants, purely because I had a bigger following with like different Filipino communities, both here in Australia and in the Philippines. And like my first beauty pageant that I did was in 2015 because I had watched a friend compete in 2013 while I was still doing like community shows, and just like I was asked because she's a big, like really close family friend, and they were like, can you come and support us? Like, we'd really, really appreciate your support. And I was like, okay, we'll come. And I'm sitting in the audience looking at these girls
and I bet you were like, I can beat them.
Legit, I was sitting in the audience, like watching these girls answer Q&A, and I'm like, why do they?
Why am I sitting down here?
Yeah.
Why am I?
What? I had just finished a musical, so that's probably why.
Yeah, that, yeah.
I had just, and I was sitting there watching and being like, why do they sound like robots? Why do they sound so rehearsed and sound like they don't know what they're talking about? And then, so I was like, let me finish my degree first. So I finished it 2014. And then 2015, I was like, okay, let's get this done. It was kind of like more so a weight loss goal because I had just come back from the Philippines at the start of 2015. And you know what it's like when you go to the Philippines, you just eat.
Yeah, and you usually come back tanner.
Yeah, more tanned, and I was 10 kilos heavier than what I had been before I left. So I kind of used it as an excuse to like lose weight, and I booked in with my personal trainer, who's now one of my bosses.
Wow.
And so I booked in with her 6 years ago, and I won the Charity Queen crown, which is, you can't really see it because it's thin, but it's up there. It's up there.
Is it like, on the other side? I see a crown on the other side.
So that's my Miss Earth Australia crown, and there's like, I don't know if you can really see it. But
I can see it now. I can see it now.
Yeah, my Miss Charity
Audience,
crown.
let's look closer. Just kidding. I see it now. Like when you shaped it.
Yeah, so that was my Miss Charity Queen Australia crown. Won that in 2015, and then it kind of was just like, okay, I actually want to represent Australia doing something. So I tried so many different platforms, and then it wasn't until like Miss Earth Australia that I placed runner-up in 2018. That's the runner-up crown there. It's very tiny. It fits on my cat's head. I placed runner-up. Yeah, he's so cute. He hated wearing it, but it was the most adorable thing I think I've ever
It's
seen.
okay. Mama won it for you, baby.
Exactly. No, so I won that in 2018. Right. 2018, and then I was like, no, I'm really passionate about this pageant because...
Yes, can I actually before you can I just wanted to I think that's going to lead me to my next question. What made you keep going? Because I think it's really important to talk about grit, having grit and like resiliency. So I mean, you were going to answer, but I just wanted to like ask. What made you keep going?
For pageants, it was because, as an actor, we're playing other people. And I want my biggest thing is like I want to make a difference, and I want to be a role model for mixed race Australian people who felt like they didn't really fit in and like they didn't see themselves represented on TV. And that's always been a big thing for me. Like as a kid, I always wanted to be like, I want to see myself on TV, and like I'm grateful to be that.
And people like us, we have to be the faces. We have to be, and that's I was having this discussion with someone yesterday, basically, and they got I was basically trying to explain it to them, but they had the notion that it was for like vain reasons, and I was like, no, it's because it's part of my advocacy. It's like I like by showing up and being in front of the camera, that's the advocacy in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I've always wanted that representation, but then for pageants, I get to do it as myself, and I get to do it about the things that I'm passionate about. And I found out that I was very, very, I've always been someone who has been passionate about the environment for a very long time. Like I was that kid cleaning up the playground, even though I wasn't on detention. And then being more educated about like climate change and the agriculture system and how much water is wasted when you make meat and make products that are primarily animal based. I found really I was really touched by it, and we were planting trees in primary school, and that was a really big part of the campaign for Miss Earth Australia and Miss Earth itself. We were planting trees almost every week, because there's been a lot of deforestation, and right before I competed for Miss Earth Australia 2019, the Amazon rainforest was on fire. So a really big part of that was a really big part of the campaign was planting more trees, because we lost so many in that fire. Yeah. And then right after going to Miss Earth, end of 2019, start of 2020 was when we had the really bad bushfires here in Australia. So it was more onus onto us to plant more trees and protect the animals, because we lost a lot of native Australian animals. It's a pageant that really changes your look on life and how you can help protect the planet to be able to keep it going for longer for future generations. And yes, some other pageants you feel you want to do more, but you're physically getting your hands dirty when you do a pageant like Miss Earth, because you're physically out there doing things. And that's, I think, what kept me going, is the fact that I wanted to keep making a difference and keep physically doing things. Because yes, you can stand there and be pretty and have your hair and makeup done, but I wanted to
what else? What
exactly
else?
What else are you doing with that title? And I really just wanted to physically get into it and actually do things. I remember competing in 2018. We had to practice our choreography on stage right beforehand. So I'm sure
for you that was nothing.
Oh yeah, no, I doing choreography. I was the one pretty much running it, running out backstage rehearsals. But it got to a point where we didn't have enough room backstage, so I picked up a couch and moved it, because what else? No one else is going to do that. They're just going to stand there. And I was like, okay, let me get this done. I moved the couch out of the way because no one else was doing that. And so I've always been someone who I'm very much a Virgo. I'm I have to get it done. I have to let me fix it. I will fix it for you. Yeah, very proactive. All right, slide our balconies right there. And
I get, is it raining? What am I hearing?
It was raining.
Was it a car?
No, it was just me opening the door to let my cat back inside.
Okay. No, well, I mean, because for some reason I thought that when you opened it, I heard shh.
It's not. I don't think it's raining right now. I think it probably was, or maybe I think. I don't know if that's fog or if it's rain, but it was raining yesterday. I can't really tell. Our shutters.
It's probably the window then making that sound, because I just I from what I heard, I thought it was shh,
it's me opening the side door to let him out, because he loves to go outside.
Yeah, then again, I'm reminded that it's barely, it's probably 6:16.
Yeah,
or
6:16 now.
Foggy. Yeah. I mean, my light over here is noon time, hot. I'm burning up. Yeah. What was that moment like when you when they announced your name for, when you found out that you won Miss Earth Australia 2019?
Well, firstly, they said it wrong. The guy that announced it called me Susan, and that's my biggest pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve about my name.
Wow.
My
okay.
name
Kill.
Boy.
I mean, I would have been Sarl over again.
Yeah. I'm read it again. But I mean, the way that I reacted, it was just I had never been more Catholic in my life until that night. After every single, I was praying so hard after every single round. We had just done personal introduction, and I'm back there changing into my swimsuit, saying a Hail Mary, saying the Our Father, and then do my runway, and then go back in, change into my evening gown, pray another thing.
And pray again,
walk the runway, and then wait backstage before they announce top 10. And I'm sitting there like crouched in my evening gown, just like praying. And then they announce top 10, do that, come back, pray again. Like every round was another round of like, I was pretty much praying the rosary after every single round.
From what I've seen, I actually see a lot of people praying on stage. I think when the,
yeah, like I don't think I've ever been more religious until that night. Because I was like, I had worked so hard since 2018 after placing as a runner-up and then coming back again and only focusing on that one pageant system. I worked so hard. Like I really, really honed in on my fitness, and I would bring my heels to the gym and practice my runway every single day. And then getting really educated on the Australian environmental issues. And every night I'd have so we have a hashtag portion round for the top 10, and we'd have to answer, like speak about a specific hashtag for 30 seconds. So I would have a basket full of different topics and get my mum or dad to like pull it out and ask me and like time me on how I would say it. Like every single night was really, really, it was like rehearsing a script, but at the same time making sure that it was personal to me and not sounding like I had rehearsed it.
Not being robotic, like what you first sat into as an audience.
Yeah. So making sure I had the information in the back of my head, but then still sounding like myself and not sounding like what's known as a pageant patty in beauty pageants, which is like the robotic, like, and I want to say this and all this. And it was that like relief that all my hard work had been for a reason. And I was like so excited and also really hungry because I trained like a bodybuilder for that's how I train for pageants. Like I lift really heavy weights, and cardio is only really brought into it later in the game. So I was hungry, just really hungry. And my birthday was that week as well. So we waited until the night of the pageant and the night after to actually celebrate my birthday properly with like birthday cake and presents and all those kinds of things.
Wow. I mean, talk about a double celebration, a crown and a birthday.
Yeah. So it's just a really big sense of relief. And I was like, thank God all my hard work was put to use and actually like came to fruition. It 100% paid off. That's so I can remember.
I'm curious then, like so with that, how would you feel like things like what was the impact of doing this for you? Like how did it get the ball rolling in your career? Because I know that shortly because I know you just mentioned earlier that having your experiences, your crown basically, like it helped you get the unusual suspects.
Well, I feel like it did. I don't know if that necessarily was like the biggest, like the reason why I towed over the line and actually like booked the role. But I feel like if like a casting director was to Google me at that point, afterwards.
I wouldn't doubt it because I've had some experiences doing I was a casting assistant basically, and without a doubt they will look at your record film. They will look at your body of work basically. So I feel like me being able to go to the Philippines and actually represent Australia was a big deal. Like if I had done another pageant and gone to another country, like it would have been good. Like, okay, she's got notability, but the fact that I was able to go back to the Philippines and represent Australia, our motherland,
exactly. It's like representing my first home in my second home. Was really, really powerful for that. And the fact that, like a lot of the articles were like Miss Australia with Filipino blood. And I'm like, So I feel like that definitely helped.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the audiences in the Philippines, and like my Instagram grew a lot because of the pageant, and then a lot of Filipino eyes were on me. So the fact that like I was able to book a TV show all about Filipinos in Australia was definitely a lot helpful. A lot more help. There we go.
It's okay. This is gonna be the intro. I love it. Just kidding. It's okay. Yawn it out. I'm like, you're here yawning. I'm here like hungry.
It was definitely that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel I know it was definitely like super helpful that I had an audience in the Philippines that they were excited about when, you know, international audiences were able to finally see the show.
Fans. You have fans, girl.
Right now. It's weird.
Fans.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like Miranda's fans have like latched on to the rest of us girls. And like I had someone make an Instagram fan page for me, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh my goodness.
Me?
Wait.
But like
you in person, real person, or your character?
Me. Like,
oh,
it's like, yeah. I was so
yes.
Like,
that sounds about right. That sounds about right. You know how like a lot of like celebrities will have their like, I'm just gonna use your character's name, GG Natix, GG Nation. You know, like those kinds of like fandoms. There you go.
Yeah. In my head, she's called them her GGBs because her last name is Bulseco. So in my head, like I had this full like marketing idea to like make IGTVs from her Instagram, and then put it out. But I think I was so busy like making other campaigns for my boss, for work related things,
for other real life situations to help pay the bills on the other side of like you filming, you know.
Exactly.
You see, I'm like creeping on I'm gonna cut this, but basically what I want to say is as we head into the last leg of our interview, I want you to fully talk about the unusual suspects because you know it's now here in the United States, which is where I'm from. And like I actually saw my best friend yesterday. We were doing stuff for our collective, which is called the Phelan Film Collective, which is basically what a plug na, might as well. Which is like basically a collective, a group that really aims to highlight like other Phelan creatives, specifically in the film industry. So whether that's acting, directing, screenwriting. So basically I told her about Aina and how I was going to interview you today. So I was like, if you guys have Hulu, you know, I'm interviewing this guest over here who's on The Unusual Suspects. And she said she's heard of it. You know, like a lot of people that I've asked about it, they say they've said they've heard it. But for this last part of the interview, I want you to take this opportunity to talk about the show, maybe talk about the process of how you auditioned for it, getting into the role, and I guess everything you want to share about it because this is the time for people to know about your show. Yes.
So I auditioned for mid 2019, I think, and I thought that was it, that I had heard from it because I didn't hear anything about it until 2020, and I was like a big like part of my uni experience was a lot of my cabarets were me mocking my mum and like imitating her accent, but like the
instead of Jokoy, you're Jokai.
Exactly. But a big thing with this role was the fact that like I needed to sound like a 20-something-year-old Filipina, not a tita. So I was like asking my cousins and a couple of my friends who had relocated back to the Philippines for either pageants or acting purposes. I was like, how am I supposed to sound? Like, what do I need to sound like? And they were like, okay, so you have to be slightly more American, but then your D's are obviously the soft D. Like it's the R's are more pronounced rather than an American R is, and just really like listening to like people like, I mean, I was using Catriona Gray as a really, really big source of my accent work as Gigi.
Oh, wow.
Because she was, you know, born and raised in Queensland, Australia, and then relocated back to the Philippines in 2012. And her accent
she got her crown, so
she got her crown for the Philippines, but like her accent changed. She had a very broad Australian accent. And if you like go,
that makes sense.
Way back,
I've spoken to her actually online. I got invited to do like a be a press for her her single that came out came up. Oh no, sorry, hold on. Her single that came out recently, RYF, Raise Your Flag. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can remember hearing her accent, you know. Yeah. Okay, lang, if you need to yawn, it's okay. I don't blame you.
No,
you're a trooper.
So her accent now is very millennial Filipino, I want to say. So it's very American, but then there's certain words that are different. So I was really, really practicing that, honing in on that before my audition. And originally Gigi was supposed to be like a medical student just wanting to come to Australia because like her family's rich and like she wants to experience Australia as like a gap year. But then the plot changed as writing changed, and she then became a business student, having to like coming over to Australia for a different kind of reason, which if you watch the show you'll see why. And yeah, I didn't hear about it for like over a year. And then I get a call from my agent being like, hey, are you free to do a table read? Because they need to do just a table read for the show because they haven't heard the whole thing be spoken out loud. Obviously with the start of the pandemic happening, they're like, we can't do a in real life table read. So are you able to do this? I was like, yeah, I'm free. So it was a Zoom table read, and
I remember those.
And they were like, this might be a good chance for like your callback, for you to get a callback for it. I'm like, okay, great. So then we did the table read.
Oh, wait. Okay, so
I didn't know, I hadn't booked it yet. So I just thought I was doing
so
like
they
a
basically
favor.
just asked you as a voice for like a moving body. It's like hear it out loud. Ooh.
Yeah.
Good strategic move there.
Right. So I did that, and I was like, okay, I really need to make a really good impression on this. So I was like walking around the house talking like this and just making sure that I sounded like how she's supposed to sound. And my mom's like, ano ba yan? Why are you doing this? Why do you sound like, what is this?
Trying to unlearn everything from you.
I know. And I'm like, I'm just trying to sound like this character, Mom. Like, and she's like, okay, stop that. Like, that's not you enough.
That's the idea.
And I'm like, I'm trying to be a little bit more method with this so that I don't have to really like concentrate on what I'm saying to sound right. And then a couple weeks later, probably one of the worst days of like the worst weeks of my life at that point, I then get a call from my agent. I think I've told this story in another interview. I'm sitting in the waiting room. No, I'm sitting in the lobby of an X-ray place because I had taken my ex to get his foot X-rayed because he had fractured his ankle going on a walk. And
on a walk?
So I'm going on a walk.
Oh no.
He fell down a hill and fractured his ankle. So I had taken him to get his ankle x-rayed, and I'm waiting in the lobby because I wasn't allowed to wait in the waiting room because of the pandemic. And I get a call from my agent. Yeah. And I get a call from my agent. He's like, you booked it. And I stand
Your agent
there.
said, I'm going to be the halo. That's about that.
Right. Literally, I don't know if I've told him this, but like he pretty much like made that week 180, that like just that from that one phone call. And I was so excited, so happy. And Like my ex.
I would have been like,
couldn't
screw
give-
your foot. Just kidding.
Right. I wanted to, but I'm one of those people that was like so like thankful and like if you're in my life, you're in my life. I'm loyal to a fault. I'm one of those people. And so I'm waiting there and I told him the news as we were driving back home, and he didn't care. He really didn't care.
Is he? Wait, hold on. If I may ask, is he the actor, the one that you had mentioned?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He didn't care, and that really broke down.
I can see why.
Yeah,
they have been intimidated.
But then like a week later, he moved out, and I was and my best friend. Well, one of my best friends, who's my fitness boss, she was like, "You've booked a TV show. Forget him. Like, who cares?" And so I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." And then we had the first table read with like the actual cast, and I remember just sitting in my study in my parents' house because I was still living with my parents at the time, sitting there because I didn't know who else was cast in the show. So I'm sitting there in this Zoom, and I look up. There's Miranda, there's Peter, there's Toby, and Michelle. And I'm just like, in my head, obviously in person, I'm just like, I've got poise. I'm not, and Heather as well. Actually, I was freaking out over Heather. I'm there like poised and like professional, but in my head, I'm like, oh my God, all these people that I know on TV and in movies, I'm doing a show with them. Oh my God.
Binge me.
Legit. I felt that way. And like everyone else and like would feel if they're like, oh my God, Aunt Zelda, oh my God, Spellbinder, all these people, oh my God, the guy from Billions, like all these emotions were running through my head that day, and I was just so excited. And I said, I had no idea that they were doing it as well. So then I'm running around telling my parents like, oh my God, they made the show. I made it. And I couldn't tell anybody like anyone else that they were in it until the announcement was made in September when we were like
those NDAs, girl. NDAs.
I know.
Million years.
Yeah.
NDAs. You can never talk about it.
But the filming process, like for me, I had to like obviously take time off of my day job. And I've told my
How
boss,
was that?
I mean, my position at the company I work for has been a casual position since I started. I've been a permanent casual the entire time, which I've been very lucky about because like
permanent casual. How do you explain that permanent casual?
So like I'm a permanent staff member, but I don't have a set amount of hours that I have to do. I don't have a set days that I come in.
As long as you show up and get the work done, basically, whenever that is.
Yeah. Huh. But because I've been in the company for such a long time, they really value the fact that like I know what I'm doing and I've been doing it for such a long time. So I'm very, very thankful for that job. Shout out to JB Hi-Fi Marylands if anyone's watching this.
Yes.
And so I
claim on that they will. There you go. Claim that.
I've had to like I've been very fortunate. Like when I had to take time off when I went over to the Philippines for Miss Earth, like that I had to take 2 months off, and they were so appreciative because I came back in the day I won Miss Earth. Australia,
I gotta go back to work.
I went back to work the next day, but I came into work with my sash on, and my boss was like, let's take a photo, we'll send it to head office. And so we did that, and he was so proud of me. So I was like, okay, if they actually genuinely have like love and are proud of the accomplishments that I make, they're gonna let me take the time off. So yeah, he let me take end of September to the end of October off.
That is
to compete in the Philippines.
And
then the same thing happened for The Unusual Suspects. I was on set Monday through Friday from October until November. So I couldn't work during the week on those days because I was on set, and so I'd either work on the weekends or not work at all those weeks. And I like promised my boss, I was like, when I win the Logie Award for Best Newcomer, I'm gonna thank you in my speech. And he's like, okay, you can take the But
I just want to say you are so like blessed and fortunate to have a job to work for someone that allows you, because like I hear from enough like I guess people who do that specifically like
yeah,
reality show contestants, they a lot of times they come back to nothing.
yeah. No, I'm very, very lucky, and my mom's like, never leave that job. Always stay on the payroll. Just
Mama's correct. She said stay on the
just
payroll.
come back. I mean, and the discounts are good too. Like it's it's like Best Buy, so like you can buy TVs and cameras.
What's it called?
And
What's it called again?
JB Hi-Fi.
JB.
And then Hi-Fi is like
high
HIFI.
Oh, okay. So like lo-fi, lo-fi or whatever it's called, lo-fi, hi-fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been there for coming up to 9 years, and I don't think I could do another kind of day job as like draining as retail work is. I don't think I could do another field of retail other than there, because they're so supportive, and like they want you to succeed in life rather than just in the company. And like my managers are really, really understanding of like mental health issues happening, especially right now. Like they genuinely ask how you are. Right?
Like, yes. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yes. So I've been really, really lucky to have like be able to take the time off to film. And then we filmed October, November of last year, and I really didn't have much experience of filming pre-pandemic. So filming during a pandemic was like hair and makeup gets done, then you put a mask on, and then you go to set, rehearse and everything with your mask on. Then it's like, okay, cameras up, take the mask off, touch-ups happen, and then you film. So like everything was just like you constantly putting a mask on and off, on and off. And I feel like a lot of Australians, complain about the fact that we have to wear masks a lot, and but I'm like, if I can film a 4-part mini series while wearing a mask for hours upon end when I'm not on camera, I don't care anymore. I will wear a mask. Like if I'm going on a walk, I will wear a mask if I have to walk into a shop. I do not care, because if I could do that, I can wear it in any other kind of environment that I need to.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I guess what I wanted to say was, I don't think I could personally go to like, because I'm a freelancer, and that's how thankfully I'm able to like sustain myself. Like I deliver. I'm not sure if you guys have Uber there, but I do Uber Eats. So I deliver food, and I actually love doing it, and it's like, and I could, as of now, I don't have any intentions of like going back to like a day job in the sense of like brick and mortar, and like especially having to wear the mask the whole time. I would lose. I mean, I could, but I think I would lose it. I guess that's what I was trying to say with like wearing the mask the whole time.
Because of the show, I'm so not fazed by masks anymore. I'm so used to wearing them. Even with the full face of makeup on, like I'm so just like, oh yeah, I can wash this. It's fine. I do the same thing, and I like to think that like I surprise people by showing up, and like especially at the start of the year. Well, right before we went into lockdown, like I had like full blonde hair extensions in, and like I felt like I'm going to surprise people being a pretty DoorDash deliverer.
I probably will wear this after my vet. I mean, I actually have like a film errands I'm going to deliver. I'll just wear this. Be like, I am your butler. No, I'm just kidding. I'm delivering your food.
So it was always, it's like, I'm not doing it now because my mom is always like, Anak, don't do this. Don't go to other people's houses. You might get sick. So I'm like, okay, I won't do it now. But it was fun to like, I'd be coming home from like a face painting gig in another part of Sydney, and I'm like, okay, on the way, I may as well like try and deliver some food. And then because like I would have just been like a princess or something, or I have to be like done up because like we have to have like a work face on. So like my hair and makeup's done nicely and I'm wearing like decent clothes. So I'm like coming and like, hi, I'm here to deliver you.
Why not, right? I mean, where's the camera?
Like, why do you look?
Where's
nice?
the candid cameras? Yeah. I mean, talk about abundance. Talk about embracing. You know, like different ways of earning money. You know, like it's all there. I'm starting to really believe that, like it's everywhere. You just have to like really open not only your eyes but like just open your whole self to like receiving the abundance, which is actually how the Uber Eats came into my life. I was like I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. So I had like one morning where I was just working on my stuff, freelance stuff, and I was like praying. I was like, I don't know for how long I could keep sustaining this until until the next time I get my money, right? And then the next day it rained, so it was being painted as like the Noah's Ark kind of thing. It flooded. It was like flooding, and I was outside, you know, like getting coffee, and that idea basically came of like me delivering through my friend who'd suggested it to me. So in other words, that's when it happened, and I was like, I never looked back. I drove in the flood. I was like, we gotta make it to the person's house.
That scares me. Heavy torrential rain scares me.
Yeah, I love rain. Kapatid, we basically made it to the end. Like first of all, well, actually, just the final question that I want to ask. But first of all, I just want to say, like, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to get to talk to you because, like, parang like in Tagalog I'll say walang halong showbiz, which means you're so relatable, and I just like. We have so many things in common, and I just don't think I would have gotten the chance to know that if I hadn't done this, you know, showing you for you reaching out. I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it too. That's all my whole thing about this. Yeah, and then the fact that we both delivered too. So
I know. Gotta hustle.
Yes. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to ask you the final question, and maybe you're familiar, maybe not, but. That question is, no, wait, just kidding. I went back to my icebreaker. Just kidding. What legacy would you like to leave behind?
The legacy that I want to leave behind is obviously, you know, being that representation for kids who aren't 100% one ethnicity, 100% another ethnicity. Not just in Australia anymore. Like as I was able to get like an international audience, it's for kids all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and having someone that they see on TV that is like them, and feeling like they're represented, and also just making a difference in any way that I can, whether that's an environmental difference, whether that's a diversity within performance difference. I want to be able to like pave the way for little girls and little boys and little in-betweens that don't feel represented on TV and in movies or in video games. That's a dream. I want to be in a video game. To know that they can do what we do and feel like they can succeed, especially in more westernized cultures where, you know, we're not like the ideal number one casting choice. But if you are the right person, right energy in the room, and you can book the role and do what needs to be done for that role, then you can do it. You just got to put in the hard yards. Exactly. So yeah, that's the legacy, just making a difference in all aspects of what I do, and feeling like I'm representing my mixed race community, not just the Filipino community, not just the like white community, because I'm not physically 100% both. So representing the kids that feel like, oh yeah, I don't look like this person, I don't like this person, I look like both of them mixed together. That's the that kind of legacy that I want to leave.
Yes. And you know, too, I think too, like from what we've talked about, and I actually rarely like say my perspective on the person as they say this question because it's yours, right? This is your truth and this is your moment, But I think too, like by showing up, like by continuing to do what you do, by like literally living your best life, whether that's like juggling many jobs so that you can actually sustain being a performer, an actress, a mogul, that you are paving the way by being a good ancestor, basically, for the future generations to come, which is what you've said. And I'm quoting this from my best friend, who was on my podcast. She quoted that from someone else. So by being a good ancestor for the future generations to come. So
yeah, I really like that. That's really like it really puts it into perspective of like we only talk about ancestors as like really far in the past.
In the past, but I feel like we never consider us.
That we eventually will be ancestors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Isn't that
scary
crazy?
as it sounds? But
I know it's scary. I know.
We will.
No. Oh yeah. But in the impact of the work that we do, then that's how we will define if we were a good ancestor.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kapatid, where can people find you? This is the time to plug the show, plug. I know you have a YouTube channel, your Instagram, everything that you do. Share galore.
Yes. So I am on pretty much all social media is at Sana Danielle, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Then my YouTube channel is just my name, Susana Downs. I'm trying to get back into it. Like this year has been really up and down with my YouTube game. Trying to get back into it. As soon as we're out of lockdown, I think there's going to be more content that I can actually do. Because there's only so much you can do in a lockdown vlog. So
talking head,
once things open up again, I think that there'll be more activity on there. And then if there's any pageant girls that are watching this, then my pageant coaching business my cat has knocked over so many cardboard boxes. My pageant coaching business just launched on Monday, and that's truetoyoupageantcoaching.com.au. But it's open for international because we'll be doing both online coaching and in-person coaching. So Australian and international. I am open, ready to go because she's been retired for a couple months now. So I'm dipping my toes back into the pageant world by being a coach.
By giving back, basically.
By giving back, exactly.
Yes. And my kapatid plug your show, The Usual Suspects.
Oh, yeah, of course. And yes, The Unusual Suspects.
It's in America now.
If you're in Australia, it's on SBS On Demand. And if you're in America, it's on Hulu. I think there's some other European streaming services. But if you can get a VPN and just get Hulu, then by all means. And it's a 4-parter, so you can binge it all in one day. Just 4 to 5 hours of your day. I'm due for another rewatch of it because it's
season 2.
That's what everyone's been saying.
Like what I was telling Ina, I'm like season 2. I personally haven't watched it, but I was just like, I get the feeling that
Yeah, I mean, I'm gunning for one. Like, I'm ready. Gigi will be blonde in it, but like, I think that was the trajectory she was on already. Yeah.
Wow. This is so cool. We made it to the end of the episode. And I guess what's currently on my mind right now, besides like running to the kitchen to eat after this, is the fact that I have not only had one, which is Ate Aina, now Susana, like I've met 2 actresses from the show, and and coming in, like finally when I finally getting to watch it, it's like coming with all these like talks that we've had. I'm like, that's never happened to me. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm speechless. I don't know. Yeah.
You'll know all the backstories behind everything with
Yeah. I'm just grateful they're good. That's all I'm saying. Yes.
Oh no, thank you. No, it was really, really great to like start my day getting to chat with you.
Oh yes, it's about to be 7. So on that note, we're gonna end it here. So this is Soul Supremacy, where we talked about all things or most things unapologetic, all things passion, and in pursuit of which is literally what our lovely guest over here, Susana Downs, has really, really exemplified with her grit, with her resilience, and ultimately her passion to give back to the world by being an advocate for being themselves. So on that note, we will see you next Friday at 7 p.m. I almost forgot Pacific time on YouTube and on the podcast platforms. Thank you, Susana.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a cut. This podcast show is a product of Studio Penguino. For more information about advertising, please visit www.adrianpenguino.com.